At the time, me and my friends were almost kidnapped. So before school ended, it was the very last day, and I had to walk home because everyone at home was out somewhere, so I didn't have a ride to my house. So I started walking to my place, and as soon as I got off of the school property, there was this really creepy neighborhood that you have to pass by. And as I'm walking through this really creepy neighborhood, I got rolled up on by a black Toyota with tinted windows. The car pulled up, rolled down his windows, and then it was a man inside of the car. And the man was like, "Hey, hop in, I'll give you a ride." And I just plain and simply said no. After that, the man just ended up driving away, so I didn't think anything of it. So I just brushed it off for the rest of the day. Fast forward to later that night, I ended up sneaking out with two of my friends, Frida and Emily. Now, Frida lives in Manteca, but she was sleeping over at Emily's, and Emily lives a few houses away from me. So the both of them ended up walking up to my house together. After they got to my house, of course, I came outside, and I actually ended up taking my cat with me for a little adventure. And then we started walking past this one park that was near my house. As we were walking near the park, I seen a black car that looked exactly the same from earlier. The car was parked with its lights on, but it was parked kind of far, so I just kind of brushed it off. I turned around again, and this time I seen that my cat was following us, and we were kind of far from home, so I just picked her up because she had the tendency to get lost. So then at this point, we finally made it downtown, and we were walking under lights, and that's when I seen the same car again, but I didn't tell my friends about what had happened earlier, so they had no clue that I had already seen this person before. A few minutes later, we seen the same car on another street, and this time I got scared, so I told my friends about what happened earlier when I was walking home from school. But at this point, it was already too late. The guy got out of his car, he had long hair, and he was wearing a black t-shirt with blue jeans and sneakers. He looked like a normal person, so I thought it was someone else. So the guy comes up to us, and he looks at me, he's like, "Oh, you're the girl from earlier. How about you and your friends hop in, and I'll give you guys a ride home?" Then I was like, "No thanks," and we started walking away really fast. As we were walking away, I turned around, and I seen that he was following us. But he wasn't following us in his car, he was walking after us. And just so you guys remember, I had my cat in my arms, and he was running after us. Of course, we were running too, and then at that point, I looked back again. Like I said, after we walked away, the man started running after us, and of course, we ran too, and I had my cat in my hands. I looked back again, but this time the man wasn't running after us. Instead, he was going back to go get his car. And when we seen that he was running back, that's when me and my friends took the opportunity to hide. We ended up finding a hiding spot, and we stayed there, and that's when we seen the guy's car pass by. We stayed there for a while. We didn't leave because we didn't know if the man was gone. While we were hiding, that's when my mom started blowing up my phone. When we felt comfortable enough, that's when we finally left, and we started walking back home, and thankfully we got home safe with my cat. But unfortunately, when I got home, my mom grounded me, and she took my phone away. And the only reason my mom found out I left was because my dog was in my room, and she was barking to get out. So my mom woke up and walked to my room to take her outside, and then she seen that I wasn't in there. I ended up telling my mom that I was almost kidnapped, but she didn't believe me. She thought that I was making an excuse, and that I actually snuck out to go see a boy.
This is the story time of potentially one of the weirdest dates I ever went on. I met this guy in high school, and he was really cute in high school, but he was kind of not my type just because he was too nice. I can already smell the men in my comments, like, "This is why you never have a good boyfriend, because men are too nice for you." Yeah, like, he was too nice. It was weird. The ones who are too nice have a really weird, crazy side, and it's like really weird. So it always had a crush on me, and honestly, I always disregarded it because I was just kind of like, yeah, he's cute, but he's kind of dumb as a box of rocks. Also, he's just too nice. One day, he basically asked me to come with him in his car and like hang out, and I was like, you know what? I want to do something. You're cute. Like, I'm going to stop disregarding the nice guys. You know, that was my crazy thought. I was so crazy for thinking that. We start hanging out, right? Like, frequently. Like, he opens the door for me. He's always calling me beautiful. And I'm, like, starting to like him, but there's just something holding me back. I think it was something about the way his beard hair looked. Like, it just was, like, an ick to me. I don't know. Also, I was always just caught up on my ex. Like, I never really wanted to get interested in him because I was just in love with someone else, basically. Well, one day, he's starting to tell me about this girl that he was just talking to literally 2 weeks prior. Like, they were talking. I had no clue about this because I've been hanging out with him for, like, weeks at this point, and I was just kind of like, ooh, I'm sorry, what? I think this made me like him more. On this specific day, he had picked me up with like the intent of like doing our little thing. We'd go to a pond at night, we'd hang out there, then we'd go to Wegmans and we'd get some food, and it was like our little date. He's telling me about this girl he was just talking to, and he's telling me how she just went back to her ex-boyfriend, and he's like riled up, like he's like angry. He proceeds to tell me that he bought her a ring. A ring. Shows me a picture of wedding ring, bro. I caught this kid in like tiny white lies before, and I just thought it was kind of like cute. Like, he would lie about like silly, stupid stuff, and I was like, oh, he's like a baby. Ew, again, mental illness, Emily. I knew this guy was lying. I'm like, you didn't buy it. You were talking to her for 2 weeks and you bought her a ring? Telling me about the boyfriend and how he's like terrible and her boyfriend's so bad and like she shouldn't have gone back to him. And I'm just like, you sound hurt. You sound very angry. Anyways, all of a sudden he gets a call from her, and I'm like, what are the odds that she calls you right now? He's looking at the phone like in shock. I'm a Gemini, right? Like, I want to stir the pot, so I'm like, answer it. Like, I want to hear what she has to say, like, answer it. He answers it, and it's the boyfriend. It's the boyfriend. He starts screaming on the top of his lungs. Mind you, this nice guy that I thought was so nice is screaming on the top of his lungs. He throws his car in reverse and starts zooming towards her house at like 100 miles per hour, like going psychotic. It like takes a second for me to recognize that he's driving to her house right now, and I'm just like, yo, what the? Wait, we're going to her house? I'm just trying to calm him down. I'm like, yo, you gotta calm down. Like, I want to go home. Like, this is so weird. Like, this is like the weirdest ever thing ever. He's like, no, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. I'm calling my brother. Like, my brother's gonna come home from whatever and kill him. Like, what? This kid, like, just take me home before you do this. Like, please, like, haha, like, I'm not trying to be rude. Like, please don't blow up and be crazy. But, like, I just want to go home. Part 2 of the story time of the weirdest date I ever went on. And yes, I have the old headband on, baby, because this is a real one. Okay? They're all real. but this one is crazy. Basically pleading with this man at this point to bring me home because I'm just like, you know what? I really don't want to be like the other girl. You know, you're clearly still in love. You're also clearly psychotic. And like, I don't want to pull up at her house and be in your car. Okay. I'm saying my girlfriend like, yo, like this is getting crazy. Like I'm so uncomfortable. Like, what do I do? And she's like, tell him to pull over so you can get an Uber. And I'm like, no, like you don't understand. We are on the throughway. This girl didn't live close. Like, we were going on a little excursion, a little travel. So his brother finally answers the phone, and he's trying to calm him down, too, and he hears me in the background, and he's like, who's in the car? Like, Ariana, what are you doing here? I'm like... Basically, his brother ends up calming him down, and then he's just, like, calmed down, and he's like, let's go back to my house and, like, hang out. And I'm like, okay. I go back to his house, and I'm expecting, like, probably be there, like, 30 minutes so he can calm down, and then he'll drive me home. But no, he starts playing the game. And I'm just like, are you playing the game right now? I turn off the console and I'm like, yeah, like I want to go home. And he literally silently stands up, throws his controller, pissed off. And I'm just like, are you truly that mad that I just turned off the game? Like that is actually so weird. Gets in his car and silently brings me home. Mind you, my ride home isn't very quick. Right before we get home, he asks me, what is it about the other guy that's keeping you from dating me? Are you projecting? Were you or were you not just going to 120 miles per hour towards another girl's house with me in the car? Yeah, the thing about the other guy is that he doesn't actually do that. I literally tell him, you're just too nice. You're just too nice, even though I just learned that you're not nice at all, but you're just too nice. He drops me off at home and I never hear from him again. Ever again.
Am I wrong for letting my stepdaughter spend a night in jail instead of bailing her out right away? My wife, 38 female, and I, 39 male, have been married for 6 years. We have 2 kids, 8 and 5. My wife also has a daughter, Mary, 18, from before we got together. Mary is in her senior year of high school and lives with us. She will go see her bio dad 2 weekends a month, but due to her extracurricular activities, it is not always an every other weekend thing. Since bio dad lives about 2 hours away, Mary works out times with her dad for her to visit him and she drives herself there. This past weekend, my wife took our 2 younger kids to visit her sister who lives about 3 hours away. Before my wife left, Mary told us that she was going to visit her dad that weekend. I was going to stay home to get some work done on some home projects that had been neglected over the holidays. So on Friday, after everyone else had left, I kicked back and took advantage of the very rare opportunity of having an empty house to myself. I bought a nice bottle of bourbon, visited our local dispensary, and bought myself a nice steak. About 3 a.m., I was awoken by a phone call. Any parent knows that a phone call at that time of night is a nightmare situation. So I immediately answered. It was my wife, and she told me that Mary had been arrested and had just been called from our local jail. Apparently, she lied about going to her dad's house and had instead attended a party. The party got busted and Mary panicked and tried to run. Of course, the cops caught her and arrested her. My wife said that the police would allow me to go get Mary right away instead of keeping her in jail. I told my wife that I had been drinking earlier and was probably not safe to drive, let alone drive to a police station. I told her that I would pick Mary up first thing in the morning. My wife yelled at me for being irresponsible by drinking to that point in case of an emergency. I told her that I was home by myself and everyone else in the family was supposed to be hours away, so I essentially had zero responsibility for anyone besides myself. She eventually calmed down enough to see my side. The next morning, I went and got Mary right when I woke up. When I saw her, it was obvious she had been crying a lot and she didn't say a word to me on the way home. She immediately went to her room when we got home and didn't come out the entire day. The next day when my wife got home, Mary was still in her room. My wife talked to her and then came to talk to me. She told me that both her and Mary are disappointed in me that I made her spend a night in jail instead of getting her right away.